Welcome to He Changed the World from Forest Baptist Church, a series of talks about Jesus Christ from Mark's Gospel, recorded by me, David Last. Talk number 16, All is Possible. Mark chapter 5, verse 35 through to verse 43. The hope of change can keep us going through a tough situation, but once hope is gone, we may collapse very quickly. In this story, a man called Jairus is hit hard by such a situation. His 12-year-old daughter is terminally ill and close to death. But he has held on to one hope, that Jesus can heal her. But on the journey to his home, Jesus has paused to help someone else. And just as he finishes, Jairus receives the news, she's gone. Your daughter is dead, and you should forget about Jesus. He can't help anymore. Sudden grief like this can be as a flood, can't it, in which we feel we're drowning. Our words may be choked in our throats, like the sensation of being swamped by a torrent of raging water. Grief overwhelms. It can even feel like fear, with a sensation that's the same as when we're scared. An uneasy stomach, restlessness, confusion of mind and of will. What do I do? Maybe Jairus experiences all of that right at this moment. His little girl is dead. All hope is lost. Now what? Jesus, however, cuts through the confusion with a simple sentence. Don't be afraid, just believe. It's an astonishing thing to say and shows how deeply Jesus understands Jairus' experience. Jesus has no children of his own, yet his empathy is perfect. He knows what Jairus is going through. But his words aren't empty. You know, he's not just encouraging the man to get a grip or something like that. Jesus means them quite literally. Just a few minutes earlier, Jairus had a single clear thought. Jesus can help my daughter, I'm sure of it. Now Jesus is saying to him, hold that thought. Don't let it slip or slide away. Believe it still. It's an outrageous thing to say, isn't it? To the onlookers, it must have felt cruel and a good idea for Jesus to leave. At the best of times, it can be hard to know what to say to a friend in grief. But when it's a parent who has just lost a child, what words can you say? What could possibly offer comfort? So for Jesus to say, I can still help, well, maybe to those listening in it seems selfish, as though Jesus is so determined to hold on to Jairus as a friend because he's an important local official with influence and power. Jesus, however, closes down the idea that he's manipulating the situation or this man, sort of for personal gain or for prestige. He doesn't want anything out of this for himself. He just wants to help Jairus and show that the man's faith in him was not misplaced. So Jesus ignores the bearers of the bad news. He grabs 3 of his closest friends and they travel on to the house, where he finds a grand commotion going on. The home is packed with weeping and wailing people. Once again, Jesus' reaction in the situation feels clumsy, dumb, cruel. He insists on emptying the house of all but the family by stating that the girl is asleep. He hasn't even seen her yet. How can he know her medical condition? It's an outrageous claim which transforms the mourner's misery into scorn. This man Jesus, he knows nothing. He cares nothing. He is nothing. The family, however, trust him. And when they go through to the girl's room, that trust is rewarded. Jesus wakes the dead girl with a few gentle words, as though she really has been asleep. And then And then he continues to behave completely normally. He tells the family not to make a fuss, but go and eat together. After all, the girl must be hungry. They don't need to explain to anyone outside what's happened. Nonetheless, this remarkable event, this private resurrection, is remembered and told later by Jesus' disciples. Jesus didn't do it for the crowd. He did it simply to prove right the faith that Jairus had and to show him kindness. But it's remembered by the disciples as a powerful lesson about Jesus, namely that with him, no situation is beyond hope. No person is beyond change. All things are possible with him. What do you think? Resurrection is a startling story to tell. It seems impossible to us. When you're dead, you're dead. At best, maybe all that happened is that Jesus arrived in time to resuscitate the daughter. But that's not what actually happened, and this is not a one-off tale. Over and over, people who knew Jesus reported the remarkable things he did. And then they said that his own death led to resurrection too, and there was no way that could be resuscitation. And they kept saying that even when they themselves were being threatened with death because of political opposition from the powers that be. The evidence of the witnesses says that these stories aren't just fiction, they are actually true. Which means that all things are possible with Jesus. Maybe in your own life you feel you've gone beyond aid, beyond hope. It's gone so wrong, sometimes you even wish you were dead. But here's a man who raises the dead. For this man is also the Son of God. So don't rush away. As the talk comes to an end, take some minutes quietly to think about him and the things that he did. Thanks for watching. You can hear the Bible passage being read out before you go, and then it would be good to have you back for the next episode.
Mark chapter 5, verses 35 to 43. While Jesus was still speaking, some men came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue ruler. "Your daughter is dead," they said. "Why bother the teacher any more?" Ignoring what they said, Jesus told the synagogue ruler, "Don't be afraid, just believe." He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue ruler, Jesus saw a commotion, with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him. And after he put them all out, he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him, and went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha koum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl stood up and walked around. She was 12 years old. At this, they were completely astonished. He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this, and told them to give her something to eat.